Hello again, MMA True Believers. I am Jason BURGOS for Sherdog.com, and tonight I have the pleasure of being joined by a man who has been the face of One Championship's flyweight division since its inception. He is a three-time flyweight champion who is set to take on the biggest challenge of his career when he faces UFC legend and One Championship flyweight Grand Prix winner Demetrious Johnson. Of course, that's once the promotion gets rolling again, and that man is the one and only Adriano Moraes, champ. Thank you for the time
Oh,
today. I much appreciate it.
oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for me. Thank you for the opportunity, and let's go.
Now, you have, what's crazy is you have not fought since January of last year, and because of the coronavirus cancellations and everything, your planned fight for April with Demetrius was lost because of that. It's now 16 months and counting since you have fought last. That is a long time to sit out for someone right in the middle of their prime year. About ring rust, and you hear a lot of media fans often say even more than fights ring rust. But I've also talked to fighters, and sometimes, like for example, I talked to Phil Davis from Bellator. He said when he had a long time off, instead of worrying about, okay, I gotta fight this guy, I gotta worry about these things, I gotta do these things, and kind of doing what you're always doing while planning for somewhere else, time away from fights or long breaks in between allowed him to work on more technical things, more things he didn't get the time to work on when having to fight all the time. Was there some benefit in being away for that long for you? Did you get to work on techniques, certain elements of your game maybe you didn't have the time to when you were much more active?
Yes, of course. I always in my life I try to see for the positive sides of the stories, And if I need to wait, I will wait and I will keep training to have it more good techniques to get more techniques, So uh, it's what I said, It's a problem for so many fighters, but for me, it's not a problem because I fight my whole life, It's not about because like 1 year or 2 years off the cage, it's gonna be problem for me. So it's what I said, I just wait the time for me to shine, and I will be ready, because of course, as a fighter, as an athlete, I want to fight, man. I want to fight. I love fight,
Yeah.
and be stopped. But one thing is good, It's just happen when you are a champion. You need to wait for a big challenge of your life, a good fight for you, and I'm waiting here with patience and with a lot of attitude to do a better job for my next one.
This is your ninth year as a pro in this sport. As you rose from the Brazilian regional scene, then you eventually fought in Shuto, then now into one, how closely did you follow Demetrious Johnson's career? Was he a fighter you admired a lot as another fighter from a smaller weight class, or maybe he really wasn't a guy that was a big favorite of yours?
No, yeah, of course. Everybody in the flyweight division, all fighters always follow Demetrious Johnson ways, for what he what he did and what he keep doing for our division. Uh, he created this division. I can say that, because when the UFC created the flyweight division, I think is because of him and Joseph Benavidez.
Mm.
So they make a Grand Prix. You remember that? And they have
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Benavidez, Demetrious Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
the Japanese Yasuhiro Rishitani, and the Yamakawa. You know, from is the four biggest flyweights in the world who started the
Mm-hmm.
division for the world, to open this door for all of the flyweights athletes in the world. So I fought against Yuristani in one championship. So I think after this win, I keep I enter in this flyweight division in the flyweight world. After I won my Shoto Sul American champion, the flyweight division. So I study a lot Demetrius Johnson. I know his always his techniques. Like I watched his fights along this his career, along his beautiful career. You know, so if you have a man who can defeat him in a good way, this man is me.
And I'm glad you brought up watching him for a long time and stuff like that because I was going to ask about that. Demetrius will be 34 in August. He's had 33 fights in his career, so he has a good bit of MMA miles on his body from training and fighting for all these years. In scouting him, not only just as a person in the sport, as a fan before he got in the sport, scouting him now, along with that, for this fight, do you see, are there any chinks in the armor? Do you see any decline in his skills in some way, or do you still see the guy that is even been in one is the same guy that has the best pound for pound fighter on the planet for like the last 5 years?
Yeah, I think he's the same, you know, because he's a top athlete in the world. I think he's a fighter. It's not today, for a long time ago too. I think he's keeping this amazing athlete, you know. I think he's not gonna change. I think he's gonna go for this fight with his best, his best. He wanna do his best performance ever, you know. And I think I think it's not gonna change. Nothing. I think he's gonna be the same Demetrious Johnson who won a lot of belts and make history in the MMA world.
You have a really big size advantage over Demetrius. And in one, with the weight class differences compared to the UFC, he's had more difficult fights than I think many people expected when he got to one because the flyweights are a little larger than the flyweights in the UFC. Have you been doing anything in this camp or even in your last few camps to make use of your length and your reach and your size when you go against smaller like flyweights like Demetrius because you're abnormal, you're different, you're a larger flyweight.
Yes, of course, I have these advantages from my side. You know, I have more height than him, and what I put on in my fight camp for against him is of course the wrestling defense, my wrestling attack. I'm living here in Florida about 5 years, and I trained in my wrestling like 5 years straight, and today I'm better wrestler than I was. So I think for this fight camp, my wrestling is gonna be much more better
Mm.
to fight against him because I know he have a good wrestler. He is a good wrestler, and I think he's gonna be the difference in this fight. You know.
And I'm glad you brought up the wrestling and stuff like that because what would you say? What do you think will be his game plan for you? What do you feel is like the belief throughout the company or the industry? What do you think people are saying, oh, this is the way to beat Adriano? Like, what do you think he's going to do to try to beat you on that night?
I don't know what he gonna be against me, you know, because I just focus on what I gonna do, you know. I never think what he gonna do for me. But one thing is real, he cannot do on me what he did on the another opponents because I'm different, you know. I'm Adriano Moraes, Miquinho just have one in the world. So, but I'm really focused into what I'm gonna do, you know, against him because I'm really focused to be a new legend and I'm really focused to beat a legend.
On some level, do you feel like you're kind of carrying the flag for one and for the flyweight division in the company in this fight? Yes, DJ has fought 3 times and won. He won the Grand Prix. He's a one guy now, but in the end, he will always be looked at as a UFC legend. You came to fame in one. You have become one of the key elements of the division and have been a top fighter for, a lot of the time you've been there. So that it doesn't seem like, oh, the UFC guy comes in and just dominates one. Do you feel some kind of pride on a level, just like even if you don't win this fight, just to give him the hardest fight he's ever had, just to show, look, we've had great flyweights in one for a long time, and it's not just UFC guys coming over that are going to run roughshod. We are just as good as UFC guys.
Yes, yes. For me, I carry with me the one championship flag because I'm been in this company for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the first flyweight world champion of the history, the one championship. And in Asia, I have a different power for me, you know, because when I go to Asia, I like to travel around to Asia, you know, and feel the energy of the people from Asia. You know, I'm fought in all of the cities, you know, Manila, Indonesia, Myanmar, China, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Singapore. So I'm much more well-rounded of the Asia people and that people. And yeah, of course, I carried the flag of one championship, and when I gonna take the like a former UFC, of course I need to do my homework. I need to give this win for our people over there.
Now, the website Bloody Elbow, they came out with a story a few weeks ago about how the promotion, has lost a good deal of money in 2017 and 2018. And just this week, there was a big story about how a lot of 20% of the one championship staff were laid off. And a couple of them I actually know and stuff like that. They set up some of these interviews. There still really isn't a game plan of when one will start doing fights again. As a guy that's a top star, as a champion, and you've been around this business a long time, some companies that look good, they don't always last. Is when you see things like that or hear stories like that, do you have a fear like one championship's future is on shaky ground and worry about where one championship will be in a couple years at all?
So, like an employer, of course, you have a little bit like scary about your how your company is going on. But as an athlete of one championship athlete who have uh, who have all the kinds of sensation of that company, because I love one championship.
Yeah.
Chatri is my friend. You know, I was in Singapore one time. We trained together, and he's my friend. And I always like to say, if Chatri needs me, I will be the first person to help him everything he needed. Because I'm a really one championship fighter. I'm
Yeah.
not coming to one championship like just to think about money. You know, I'm a different champion. I'm a different fighter, and one championship is one of the first organization who believes in my work, who believes me. I like to say one championship like to created me. Like give me a lot of opportunity in my life. I can have a beautiful marriage in Philippines, with one of my passion, my girl, my wife today. So if you want championship need me, I can fight. Man, I don't think just about money. I can make a lot of promotion, a big promotion. If they need me, I'm gonna be the first person to stand up and fight for them.